Welcome to the This Little Lighthouse podcast, where I share stories of encouragement for other home educating parents and stories of faith. I'm so glad that you're here, and I really hope this is an encouragement to you on your journey. Hello, and welcome to episode 2 of the This Little Lighthouse podcast. I'm joined by my husband, Berno, again.
Hello, yes, I've been invited back again.
Welcome back.
Thank you.
And tonight we're going to talk about...
We are going to talk about the approach we follow, or I say we, the approach you follow to home educating, because in our last episode we were talking about how we've come to home educate. Now it's how are we doing it?
Yeah, so if you haven't heard the first episode, we'd recommend listening to that because it will provide some context for what we're going to talk about.
Yeah.
But we thought we'd kind of share a bit about how our approach has developed over the years.
Yeah, Lucy's approach, really, because I'm just here cheering on the sidelines, because you're doing most of it.
But actually, you are a very important part of it because you're there answering all my questions, and when I'm having emotional meltdowns, you're a big support. So
I'm your ears for you to help when you're processing, aren't I?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So okay. Well, when we shared in the last episode about how we've come to do it, one of the things was that our eldest was at this preschool nursery, which followed the Montessori approach. Was that something that you were very much thinking about as well at the time, or were you aware of Montessori before that, or I don't know, how did you?
I'm not sure, actually. That's a good question. But I was aware of it partly through my friend who was planning to home educate. And she'd actually told me about Montessori before that, yes. And she'd lent me a couple of books, I think, as well. So I was aware of Montessori. And I think that's why when we were looking around the nurseries, we really liked it, because it kind of aligned with the approach we'd already been starting to introduce into our home when our eldest was a toddler. So, yes.
So the start of our homemade journey was very much a Montessori-based approach.
Yeah, and even like you said, the toys that we would buy as well were kind of
it's all Montessori kind of toys. Inspired
by that.
Inspired by that. Woody kind of toys, but educational and fun and tactile and easy to just make.
Very open-ended.
Yeah, definitely. So certainly very intentional with the toys we bought. Yeah, I remember that. We still got some of them. Yeah.
And then from that kind of naturally led me, well, I say naturally led, I then kind of started hearing about unschooling and was really intrigued by that. What does this mean, unschooling? So I started looking into that, and I read a book called How Children Learn by John Holt.
Yeah. And I guess that sounds very much child development based, a lot around child development, which is Montessori as well, right? I think a lot of these approaches are very much thinking around child development and how children learn, and But then within that, there's also the philosophy behind, like, well, what is education, and what are we trying to achieve here with how you're teaching your children, not just what you're teaching them, but how you're teaching them.
Yeah, so there are big differences between them, and also similarities as well, which we won't go into tonight. But I guess what's helpful to maybe explain is then how that has shifted, because with following kind of an unschooling approach, that led into us doing more project work, so focusing on the girls' interests and tying it in with the paw print badges, and doing sort of challenges around that. And because I was still keen to bring in the academics as well, and wanting to obviously make sure that we were covering a wide range of subjects.
Whereas unschooling, is that more kind of a bit more freer in the sense of just, whatever their interest is, let them pursue that, and you kind of fit around that and see if you can help, facilitate some of the learning and process through that.
Yeah. I think with unschooling, it is on a spectrum. So some people would be unschoolers, but follow, say, like a project-based approach as well. So it's not like
you're just they're
mutually exclusive.
Yeah.
So I would say we were unschooling, but also tying in lots of projects and doing, like, taking a project-based approach. But there was a period of time where I was working, so I was working part-time, and we were going to meetups in the week, and I started to feel that I needed to be more intentional with planning in time for us to actually sit and work more intentionally and have a bit more structure. And at the same time, I'd also come across Charlotte Mason's philosophy and was wanting to like learn more about that.
Yeah.
And I was questioning some of what I'd, not necessarily some of what I'd read, but how kind of our values aligned with the different philosophies.
Right.
And I think in some ways there was this temptation to want to fit into a box or like a category or a label.
Find the perfect way of delivering your education.
Oh, that's a good question. Is there a perfect way?
Well, I think, from being your
Spoiler alert.
having been your ears, and as you've been processing things, often you would talk about as if there is this perfect way.
Yeah.
Or not necessarily say that explicitly, but
No.
The impression you gave was there must be this ultimate perfect way to do it. And if I don't do it right, I might end up doing damage to my children or something.
Like you said, I don't think consciously I thought there must be a perfect way. But often when I would look at comments that people would make online or see what other people are doing, I would start to think, oh, maybe actually like I'm not doing it quite right, or I'm not doing enough, or I'm not being child-led enough, or and I was wrestling a lot with what I was doing and
how that
constantly
compares
questioning
with
it.
different approaches and other people things.
So although explicitly I wouldn't have said, oh yeah, no, I know, like I wouldn't explicitly have said to you, oh yeah, there's a
the perfect way.
There's
but you certainly gave that impression.
Internally, I think I was struggling with that, with some perfectionism there.
Okay.
Or wanting to do it in the best way.
Yes.
If that makes sense.
Yeah. Whatever the best way is, it's trying to find that best way.
Yeah.
And there certainly were quite often conversations where, and I remember times you'd read what one person says, or someone might have a really strong opinion online, and then you reflect on your own way of doing things, and you criticize yourself, and then you're like, oh, I'm not really doing a very good job, and then it's kind of reminding you, well, let's look at what you've achieved so far. Look at how they're developing. Look at them. Look at just take a moment and see what the children are doing. See how they are. Look at them reading. Look at them writing. Like the evidence is there.
Yeah.
You're doing a great job. And actually, with all of this, I think is love. Really is the underlying thing that will keep them secure. Is a loving and safe environment.
Yeah.
And as parents, I believe as parents, we naturally teach. We've got just that natural desire to teach. And so even then, whatever approach you use, you will have that natural desire to teach. But I think also your personality fits into this as well.
Yes, that's true.
For me, like the whole unschooling method, and when you were reading those books, like that really resonated with me. I'm quite in the moment kind of person. I can just go with the flow, and suddenly ideas can just pop in my head. Oh, let's explore this and let's do this thing. And whereas you don't work like that.
That's such a good point. I think that's a really good point.
Which is probably why there's these wrestles, because you could hear the wonderfulness about children being able to pursue their own curiosity, but then when it came to it,
sorry, the guinea pigs are in the background.
when it came to it, you struggled with that because your mind doesn't work like that.
Yeah, that is very true. I think actually that was one of the tensions I found with unschooling, because I wanted to be very much like following the girl's lead, but then at times that was quite challenging because at points it went to an extreme where I was not like prioritizing my own needs as well, and so I found that quite difficult. But also, like you said, just personality wise as well, I personally wanted more structure, and that's not to say that you can't have structure within an unschooling approach.
Yeah.
that is not to say, but I started then discovering more about Charlotte Mason's philosophy.
Yeah.
And so that influenced our approach as well.
And I guess on a personal level, with regards to your personality and structure and discipline, I think you were, again, a lot of things you were kind of questioning and thinking, well, how do you bring discipline into unschooling when actually you see so many people who just let their children be? Like, where does discipline fit into that? But then for your personality of structure and organizing you like to be organized, you like to know what you're doing, you like to be planned and prepared. You can't just leap into something and just fit in. You have to be planned, have planned for it or be prepared for it. So, so do you now, would you say we are purely Charlotte Mason based, or is it a bit of a mixture of things?
Yeah, I would say I've found freedom in our approach. So I get a lot of inspiration from Charlotte Mason's philosophy. I'm still learning about her philosophy. There's so there's so much within it.
Yeah.
So I'm a newbie to Charlotte Mason's philosophy, and I feel like I'm just dipping my toes into that and kind of still discovering, still learning about that. But that is certainly giving me some vision and inspiration. And I think that's what I was seeking. I think that was what I was after. And what I found in the Charlotte Mason philosophy was that it gave me vision.
Yeah.
But also I feel free to not to follow it strictly.
Yeah.
So
because you've got you've got a broader perspective, because you've not just said, right, there's this one philosophy which I need to follow, but you've actually had experience with a variety of them.
Yeah.
And now that you're also with the workshops that you're doing, you're presenting quite a lot of different approaches to it, and even in that you're finding nuggets of gold that you're like, oh yeah, I can incorporate this into how I'm doing things, and this is brilliant. Yeah, how can I make use of that? So
we're constantly learning, aren't we? Constantly reflecting and thinking about what's gone well. And actually that's another point actually to come to, is that in finding peace, one of the ways that I find peace in terms of our approach and the day-to-day is looking at what's gone well. So rather than constantly kind of comparing and feeling, we're not doing that, or I don't know, we're not doing this very well, or look at so-and-so, they're doing it so much better. Actually just like reflecting on what is going well, and yes, looking at what we can do better as well, but having that reflective practice and building on the things that are going well. But a huge part of working out your approach is being clear on your values. I think that's
you mentioned
really
values earlier, and
really
how
important.
Charlotte Mason's approach very much resonates with our own values.
Yeah, which we're going to talk in more depth in the next episode.
Yeah.
But I think if I was to go back kind of to that very beginning, it would be, I would say to my younger self, think about your values, think about what's important, because ultimately along this journey that we've been on, it's been a case of, us talking through what is really important and what are our values, and
how do we teach those?
and then what does that look like in practice, and us kind of like,
how do we pass that on to our children and embed it in them?
And us working that out together. That's been really key, and that's where it is like I feel really blessed that we can do that together and have those open conversations about things.
I think if I just left you to it, you probably would have given up.
I would have.
Yeah. Whereas actually there's been times where you felt like, whoa, this is really hard work. Am I doing a good enough job? And I've been like, yeah, you're doing great. Like, keep going. Like,
or just you being there to reassure me. Sometimes I'll just be like, no, I can't do it anymore. and having that reassurance of actually, which I'm really grateful that I have. We're together
in this, aren't we? We're united, and although you're the main one delivering and doing all the hard work and the preparation and things. Actually, it's still a team effort in how we go about doing this. So, yeah, no, wouldn't want. I think how us home educating has enriched my life very much on a personal level as well is amazing, because I've just learned so much and enjoy the world around me so much more, and feel I can just appreciate the world we live in so much more because of this journey that we're on. And it makes me think about life a lot more in a broader sense as well. Again, as we question what's the purpose of education, you start thinking about what's the purpose of life, and you really dig into. I like those deep questions. So it's brilliant. Yeah.
It's good. The learning and the unlearning that you're doing
Very much
as you go along.
Yeah. So next episode we're talking about values.
Yeah, we're going to talk a little bit more about that and go into the Charlotte Mason philosophy a little bit more as well.
And how that's shaped our values, or how that resonates with our values.
And talking about the course as well, which we've touched on tonight. I will be going into the different philosophies as part of the course, which is kicking off in September.
You've got like 7 different philosophies that you look at.
Oh, that's a good question. How many do we go into? So we look at let's think about it. So Montessori, unschooling, classical, Charlotte Mason, Waldorf, Steiner, which is one. I used to think they were 2 separate philosophies, but not. Eclectic, project-based, or sometimes called unit studies. I think that's all of them. I think that's 7.
Yeah.
I think it is 7.
There you go.
I feel like I've missed one, but I don't think I have. So we go into those different philosophies and talk about what are the guiding principles behind those philosophies, and a bit of the history behind them, and then we talk about what that looks like in practice, what the philosophies look like in practice.
Yeah.
So if that's something that interests you, if you want to find out more about the course, then please do let me know. But otherwise, we'll see you in the next episode.
Great. Well,
thanks for listening.
Thank you for having me back again.
Thanks for being here and setting it all up.
My pleasure. Your pleasure. My pleasure.
Bye.
Bye.